Donnie, what's up, man?
Hey Clint, how are you?
Sorry if you
How's
tried
it
to get in a
going?
second ago. I was had some technical difficulties. Had to Windows restart at the most
Oh no.
inopportune of times.
I'm
Technology
running.
2022, and I don't get along always.
That is all right. I am running late myself, so I apologize that I was running a little late too. How are
No,
you?
you could have just pretended like you were waiting for me this whole time and pawned it off all on me. That's the thing to do
Can't
these
do
days,
that. I
Donnie. Come
can't.
on.
I can't do that. Wasn't raised that way. My old
Oh,
man will sense it. I'll be in deep shit
I like that.
somehow.
You're a good dude, man. That's so. You're
Oh,
are you from Texas originally?
yes.
So
Born and raised.
you live in
Yeah.
Amarillo.
I do now. I'm from a town called Sherman, Texas. It's
Okay.
about 45 minutes north of Dallas.
Oh wow. So right, not too far from the Oklahoma border there.
Oh, we're yeah, and some people, smartasses, call us Southern Oklahoma.
Right.
So that's what they like to do.
So it's not a bad thing anymore. You got that Choctaw Casino now right up there in Durant, Oklahoma. Man, that place is awesome. You guys
Oh
ever
yeah.
played there?
We no, not in Durant, but if you're gonna say it like someone from North Texas or Oklahoma, you have to say Durant.
Durant.
That's Durant. I'm like, it's Durant. No, it's Durant. Like, no,
So
it's not.
I
It's
mean, I'm from Missouri. It's all the same,
nice.
right? So,
Yeah.
but Amarillo, okay, so back to that. You home
Yeah.
of two of my favorite things, wrestler Terry Funk and the
Yep.
Big Texan restaurant, my favorite restaurant maybe
Oh
in the
yeah.
US.
No shit. Wait,
Are
can I
you
go blue? Hey, can I go blue, Clint? I didn't mean
abs-
to curse.
of course,
Okay, I
yeah,
just want to
you
make sure.
may. You have my permission.
You know what? Actually, we're gonna be like when we're playing in Amarillo next Thursday,
Yeah.
and Bobby Lee, who owns I'm sorry, the Big Texan is the promoter. He
Oh wow.
owns the venue that we're going to be playing, and it's a big amphitheater that he created, and he has got, I think tonight they have Sublime. The other night they had Steve Earle and the Dukes. They have everyone. It's fantastic. All
That's
the people
that's
there.
Starlight Ranch, correct?
Yes,
That
yes,
looks that
yeah,
place looks awesome and I haven't been
it
there.
does. It's fantastic.
You guys are hitting a bunch of big venues, a bunch of really cool venues. You start the tour next week, I think Tuesday
Yeah,
at in Tulsa at Kane's Ballroom, which is legendary beyond
that's
legendary.
it's the best way to start a tour. Why not start with the
Oh,
best? And Canes is just so great to play, and they treat us fantastic. The management there is amazing, and just great people, and just the history there.
it is. And Tulsa's become like an epicenter. So I'm in Kansas City. For some reason, we're getting skipped on a lot
Nice.
of big shows, not the Toadies. We'll talk about that coming up because you
Yep.
guys will be here in October. But
Yes.
God, I got to go down because next week Iron Maiden's in Tulsa. I got to go down there for
Oh,
that. I got to go down for Scorpions the very next week in Tulsa, same arena,
you
BOK
have to.
Center. And then Wasp. I don't know if you're a Wasp fan at all. That's just a shot in the dark. But
Nice.
after 18 years, they returned to the U.S. So this is just warming up for me. I'm going to be in Tulsa a
Dude,
lot coming up.
I'm a metal nut. My brother and I mean, we're from Sherman, Texas. So we were raised, it was, you loved punk and metal. You loved
Right.
all of it. I mean, I'm stoked that Joe Barrisi remixed Holy Diver,
Oh,
you
man.
know? I
One of my
mean,
favorite albums.
God, you don't get better than our JD, man. And he's my favorite. Him and Sinatra are my two favorite vocalists.
That
My
is
brother and I will discuss this all the time. Yeah.
tremendous. I wasn't sure if you were a metal fan because a lot of interviews, a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people talk, a lot of go real deep into punk and that kind of stuff. But this is tremendous. So
Oh,
you're a Renaissance man.
oh, totally. Well, I mean, it's my old man was a disc jockey, so he would bring
Wow, that's
records
cool.
home to Zach and I. And his, I remember he brought the first Great White record. Like, you boys want to listen to this? He brought us Twisted Sister. In fact, our parents, they said once we were like getting into music, they were like, "All right, we're gonna decorate your guys' room." And we were like, "Oh shit, no, 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 no! Don't do this,
That
please, don't do
could
this."
go either way there. Yeah.
Dude, and we left and we went out to the mall and we were like, oh God, this is gonna suck so bad. We came back, I'm not lying. Our mom and dad bought Twisted Sister. This is 84, 85.
Stay
Um,
hungry.
that's the poster they bought. They bought Dio They bought the Number of the Beast poster for their teenage sons, and
Great
a
people.
picture of Heather, that poster of Heather Thomas coming out of the jacuzzi.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's an important
That
one.
we were like, they know what we're going to do with this thing. So we couldn't believe how lucky we got. We were like, this. I mean, like, we were like Iron Maiden, Dio. I mean, we could not believe our luck.
That is
Man.
amazing.
So,
They
yeah,
also rented you Fast Times at Ridgemont High on VHS and fast forwarded right to the pool scene. So,
dude,
good parents.
They took us to they took us to see Blazing Saddles. They took us to see Stripes. They took us to see, any Mel Brooks movie. They didn't want us to see violence. Violence they didn't like. But titties and fart jokes, that was okay. Yeah, that was all right.
Got to draw the line somewhere.
Exactly.
Wow.
They didn't mind, man. Yeah.
Donnie,
you're gonna see this. Yeah. Well, we were lucky.
This is great. I guess we should probably mention that we're on the road to rock with Doni Blair from the Toadies. It's great to have you here, sir. Because I guess we're just getting acquainted, becoming fast friends before actually getting down to business, and I'm okay with that because it's not often that we're like, I'm going to put us in the general age. We're about the same age, so I put us in.
I just turned 50.
Okay, well, I'm heading towards 40. My girlfriend's 7 years older than me. I always say, general age range. Same time period. So a lot of similar interests. This is very cool. And the Toadies on tour. It starts next week. We talked about Kane's Ballroom, and you guys are going to be here. You want to talk about a cool venue? We just had the Box Masters, which, by the way, features Billy Bob Thornton on vocals here at Knuckleheads in Kansas City. It's my favorite venue here in town. I'm living here. I know it. You'll be here on October 4th, man. The Toadies are out. This tour is going to be exciting. Following, how long has it been since you guys have done a full-on tour? Has it been since, just 19 or so?
2017, actually.
The last album.
Yeah. One of my favorite experiences happened in KC on that tour. We were going out to we were doing going out to our merch table, and this guy with long hair showed up, and he looked familiar, and he was talking to my drummer, and my drummer goes, "Oh, well, our bass player is about to shit his pants." And the guy introduced himself, and it was, are you a King's X fan?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh my God. It was Ty, the guitar player from King's X.
In KC.
And I he lives there. He and his wife live there. And I said, "What in the hell are you doing here?" And he goes, "Oh, I paid for the show." And I said, "Why?" He said, "I see you guys every time you're in Kansas City." And it blew my mind because what King's X have done for my brother and I talk about my brother, Zach. He's a guitar player in Rise Against as well. And actually, as you and I were talking about metal, I'm not making this up. My brother just texted me, "Hey, check out this shirt that Scott Ian's wearing. It's of Cliff Burton." I'm not lying.
Wow.
Right when we were talking about metal, he texted me that. But King's X, amazing band. And so Ty Tabor came to see us. And that's one of my favorite KC experiences. But that was like in 2017.
Well, we're going to try to top it. Maybe he'll be back here. We need to get him in touch with Erica, your publicist, and get him on the list for the show. Okay.
God,
if nothing else. I mean, geez.
They're just the best. Man.
Your Rise Against, I've actually seen live. There's a place called the Beaumont Club here. They played it. This is, back whenever Thursday and Rise Against played together. Those bands were like really hit, coming up. And that's a show I'll never forget. I had a girlfriend that kind of dragged me to it, but I became a fan. Rise Against, another great one. So you got kind of tight. There's like a 6 degrees of Donnie that kind of goes around the music business, metal, punk, it doesn't matter. You just sort of have this web that goes off. So.
Thank you. I try to have my web.
Well, this is great. We're excited about the Toadies, man. It's been a long time.
We can't wait to be there.
There's been talk of a new album. It's been since 2017. Is this true? Can we go with this news and just give it to Blabbermouth and say, just write the headline?
Yeah. Well, next week we're releasing an EP of just stuff that we had left over from other sessions and stuff. But the new record, we went in May, and Vaden had just had all these songs. I mean, I think he sent us like 35 pieces of music that he's just been cataloging over the past few years. And we got together in a rehearsal room And for like 4 or 5 days, we blew through 13,
Wow.
and it's dark, dark shit. It's awesome. It's some of the best stuff. It's, some of the records it's been very happy, but the pandemic has really hit us hard.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I think about a week or so after we leave KC, we're going to Chicago to meet up with Steve Albini to discuss maybe making a record with him. We hope, if it all works out for everyone, to
Well,
do this live. We want to get the sound of our band, not our band making sounds. And
wow. I like that. Wow.
it's, I mean, and I love making records in the studio, how you do it, but we've done it a lot. So it's like, let's go make a record where it's just us playing and see how that sounds, because these demos we've got sound pretty good, and it's just us playing. It's just mics set up, and we're just playing the songs very relaxed, and they sound pretty amazing. So we're kind of wanting to lean into that.
What is it about this band, the Toadies, that have just carved out this nice little niche into and left this nice little scar on the music industry? It's like, obviously the debut comes out in 94, Rubberneck, and it's this big hit, and there was hits on it, and there was songs that, kind of go with the time, but you couldn't really pencil them in. I know that you've been in the band since '08, but you couldn't really pencil the Toadies into any category. They weren't grunge, they weren't necessarily punk, but they've carved up this niche, and you've been in there now for 14 years. Kind of what's this journey, this odyssey been like for you, my friend?
Oh, amazing. I was a fan of the band. I mean,
Okay.
My brother and I had a band called Hagfish,
Yeah.
and some of our first shows playing was opening for the Toadies. We went to see them. We drove from Sherman to Fort Worth to see them with Wool. Wool had just put out their first EP, and we loved them. And it was when they had Tracy and God, it was Tracy and Charles Mooney were in the band at that point, and we just fell in love with them. And
Wow.
so to eventually get in and play the songs and look over to my left and see all those guys I'm playing with, like, oh wow, that's why it sounds good, because it's the Toadies playing it in my ears.
Right. Amazing. And to think that, like, that the band was like, it's cool that you guys played shows with them. They also played shows with, you mentioned Great White. They played with brands like Great White and Dokken in the early days, because they had nowhere to, what do you do with this band? Like, what is this? I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
And kind of a testament to the originality, especially, man, in those early days. Like, so that's just crazy to think of them. I wish I would have been there. I wish I could have been on stage and saw the Toadies play with Great White. Where was I?
Yeah, no kidding. I think it's a testament just of how they write music, and from where they're from. Is in Dallas, there was a Dallas music scene, but they were from Fort Worth. There wasn't necessarily a Fort Worth scene, so they always felt like outsiders.
Yeah.
So we still pretty much feel that way, of a lot of the 90s bands. We're kind of not like a lot of, we're still kind of left out.
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff, and but yet people still love our songs, and it's kind of a great place where we are. I think, it's people remember us, but we're not lumped in with certain things. Does that make sense? It's not certain
Yes.
genres and stuff, and it's kind of we're our own thing. It's just right now it's just become a really cool rock band, but we have some really weird songs and some crazy times.
That's a delicate balance there, and I love it. And just how important is it as you get advanced in age a little bit, and you've been around and established, and you're kind of the new guy, right? In the Toadies, it's been there for 14 years. But how important is it at this stage that you're in a band with people that you get along with and that you have fun with on the road? Because to me, that's an underrated aspect of music and bands and touring.
Oh, it does. We get around each other, and it's not like the Monkees or anything, but we do know how to crack each other up, and we have a lot of just dumb inside jokes, and I think that's a big deal of it. Is we do play really well together on stage, but I think it's because we still like each other. We have just, we're just really, just dumb with each other, and we have great communication. We're still friends. We respect each other, and we know how to talk to the other one, to discuss things. And we're open, we're honest. But the majority is, I honestly, since I joined the band, we've just laughed a lot for 14 years. We laugh, I think, more than any other band. I mean, we will do, the bigger festivals and all that stuff. And I'll see some of the bigger radio bands, and they're kind of just, they don't hang out with each other. They don't do anything. And in our room, we're just, we're having a great time just with each other, kind of just talking to each other and having fun. It's always a good, humorous atmosphere. We don't really take a lot of it too seriously. We do the playing, especially with Rubberneck. That's a very serious endeavor. People come to see that, and they want it to be done right. So playing the shows, we're very hardcore serious about. But other than that, not really, at all.
Well, it's going to be a great lineup. We talked about the early days, Toadies playing shows with Great White or Dawkins, but how about Reverend Horton Heat coming up here? What a duo that is. And is it Draculus? Yeah. Draculus is
Draculus. Dracula started with my brother Zach and Mike Wiebe from Riverboat Gamblers, and they were best friends. And Zach wanted to still be busy when he was home from the road, and but he was into garage punk, bands like Radioactivity and stuff like that. And he and Mike started this band that I just love. They have 2 records and an EP. And Zach won't be with the band. He'll be touring himself, but yeah, they're a fantastic band. People have got to get out there early to see Draculus. They're just a great band, great live band.
And just you and Reverend Horton Heat, this is just tremendous. And I think a testament to that time period. We talk about not lumping the Toadies in. You can't. There's a lot of tours that have come up this year, that kind of cash in on 90s nostalgia. I'm a nostalgic person. I'm not making fun of it by any means, but I think you had like the Bare Naked Ladies and Gin Blossoms and all kind of packaged up and going out. This is a common thing. But with you guys, it almost feels like you're ageless, timeless, not fitting into a time period. I'm like, this is not, an 80s hair band like Poison, Rat, LA Guns. This is, you guys are sort of timeless. And maybe it's because there's a lot of time in between releases. I think that makes the band kind of mysterious and rare, if you will.
Okay. I mean, it's a really cool observation. I didn't think about that. We try to just do the records when we feel them, and it's a lot of that's up to Vaden. He's the main songwriter. And when he's feeling it, like, oh, let's go do it. We're always up to record and to do great, fun things, but it has to come from him, and we've had such a turbulent past few years. The entire world has that he's able to, he's leaning into it, the frustration and the anger from all of that, and writing some great stuff. And it's a great time to do a record right now. I think.
I love it, man. I've leaned into it. It was just for myself, we do sports here. I do a whole, media brand. So we cover sports, music and everything like that. So it was I'm used to going to 50 shows a year to dwindle that down to 0. I think just for the fans, for the bands, you just left wondering what is happening right now. And it was a very dark time. And I look back on it, I've never been my worst days of my life, Donnie, are days like the Chiefs lost in the playoffs. If you were a football fan, you saw the Chiefs lost to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, blew a 21-3 lead. That's like the worst day of my life. That's how good it's been for me.
You know what? Mahomes is from around here in the Panhandle.
Yeah, White House.
Actually, he's from Spring, Texas. Yeah, then he went to Texas Tech. That's where he got his start at.
Yeah. He's from Dallas, one of the Dallas suburbs there, and went to Tech. Of course.
Yeah, he's still a big deal around here. People kind of consider him their own because he got his start at Tech.
Absolutely, he's a Texas guy. I mean, his dad played baseball for the Texas Rangers at one point in time, and he's an institution here. But that's kind of what I mean. Like that was a horrible day for me. But dating, back to that time, 2020, I would think I was depressed. I don't think there's any other word for it. And I think that we're finding
we all were.
2 years later that it's like, that's not good. That I think there's a lot of people think about people that had much worse days than the Chiefs losing a playoff game and how they would feel about going through that stuff? It was dark,
Yeah,
man.
I think about that, and we made it through.
Yeah.
Not everyone did. Not everybody
Yeah,
made
you're
it
right.
through for one reason or another. They
Yeah.
let things get to them, unfortunately, or
Yeah.
they let the the sickness, it unfortunately took them. So I think all of us that made it through, that's what I think concerts are these days, is we're all just celebrating that we all made it through. And
Interesting.
it's
Yeah.
not being excited, it's I try not to feel guilt, because I feel so bad for everyone that
Of course.
weren't able to use medicine, and the vaccines and stuff like that, and
Right.
to do those things to help them out, and I feel horrible about that. But I think it's just more of a celebration, that's kind of like our point. Like, we're celebrating that we all get to do this again. We get to go play. People get to come see us. We as fans get to go to concerts as well. We get to do these things and enjoy them, And of course, we have different precautions. Everyone does,
Of course.
It's not like exactly what it was before 2020, but gosh, I'll take the precautions.
Yeah.
I'll take all those things versus the alternative.
Yeah.
I
I
really
love
will.
that. Well said. And we're definitely getting there. Donnie, before we hit you with our final 4 drum roll, which will be 4 quick questions, we got to make sure everybody goes to thetoadies.com, and that's where you can get all the tour dates, all the information. Make sure you go, especially if you're a listener here in the Kansas City area. We got October 4th. Circle that. That's Kansas City. And then if you're on the St. Louis side, the next day, October 4th, October 5th. So, or if you want to hit both, just take off work and go do both of them. That's
come to both of them.
That's,
why not?
In my 20s, I could have probably pulled that off. So 4 quick questions. Let's start with this. You're from Amarillo. So do you have a favorite sports team that you cheer for? Do you have one in particular? College football, pro, anything?
You know what? My wife and I, we were living in Dallas when the Dallas Stars started. So they're always going to be near and dear to our heart. But now in the past few years, we've gotten into English football.
Wow.
And leaned into it pretty hard, where we're like, where the hell was this a few years ago? Why didn't we get into this a while ago? Now we're just pretty obsessed with it. But we're trying to figure out a team to support. You can't just like, oh, I like them this week and this week. It's not how you roll in England. You got to support your team, and that's who you support till the day you die. So we're figuring that part out, but that's kind of that's like the most sportsy thing we get.
Okay.
That and the Australian rugby teams, stuff like that. We kind of
cool.
We go on the opposite end of things,
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Love it. Question 2: is there a band or bands or that you've the Toadies have played with, or that you've played with in bands over the years that you talked about being a metal fan, just a fan of music in general, that you shared a stage with, that you were just so starstruck that you just about couldn't handle it? Is there a band or two that stands out?
No, actually, I don't want to sound cocky, but no. I mean, I think if our dream would be to play with AC/DC, or we'd love to do ZZ Top. I think we would that, or I would love to do something with the Pixies too. It's
that'd be perfect.
Those are kind of I mean, there's a lot of great bands that we would love to share the stage with, but I think being kind of like, oh shit, yeah. I mean, if you're around, AC/DC, it's kind of like, okay, you're the reason why we're all doing this anyway.
Yeah, talk about tragic. That's a band that had a new album out. And then just like COVID killed AC/DC for the time being. And my gosh, Brian Johnson's 74. I don't know what, I mean, we got to get this in the ring, so to speak, somehow. We got to get this home and get some shows, hopefully, for AC/DC before it's too late. That's,
I hope.
I'm tired of seeing my heroes. I'm tired of waving goodbye to my heroes, Donnie. I'll tell you that. That's especially all part of it.
They're the best rock and roll band in the world. I mean, hands down in history to me, but they're just an amazing band.
I mean, you could debate it, but why would you? I mean,
why would you?
AC/DC, I mean, I've seen it, every band known to man. AC/DC, it's still the most skull crushing, grab you by the throat, straight ahead, just kick your ass concert I've ever been to. And that's it. Like that.
my drummer saw, and I think it was Omaha. He saw AC/DC Highway to Hell tour open up for Cheap Trick,
That's amazing.
like in
Wow. Wow.
1979. Yeah,
And I
he
love
saw
Cheap
them with
Trick, but
Bon
what
Scott.
a
Oh yeah,
diverse. I
yeah.
love both
He's
bands.
and it was his first concert. That was his first concert he ever went to.
You've perfectly transitioned us into question 3, which is
Shoot.
what was your first concert?
Oh, Anthrax. My brother and I were. It was Among the Living tour, the Bronco Bowl in Dallas with Celtic Frost and Exodus, and we couldn't believe that these guys we were listening to were in front of us. We're like, oh my god, they're going to do our favorite songs. We just that thing of listening to someone,
Yeah.
obsessively night and day, and then going to see them, like there they are. Oh my god, there they are. Oh my god, they're playing Indians. Holy shit, oh my god, there's Celtic Frost. I can't. It's still an excitement thing. You hear so many times, you listen to this stuff, and then you get to go and see these people. It's still a fantastic thing. But that was a good way to start my career, I think.
Yeah, that's I mean, I love Anthrax. I love Joey Belladonna. I even like John Bush when he's saying,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
John Bush. I'm a big because Armored Saints opening for Wasp on this tour. I'm seeing them on. So Armored
Oh,
Saints back out there.
nice.
So that's a recreation of the 1985. Get this, it was Wasp headlining, Metallica under that, and Armored Saint. Those three toured together in 85. Now, two of those are coming back for 2022. I don't think Metallica is going to open for Wasp on this tour. I don't think
I
they
don't
can
think they
make that
are.
work.
I
We
don't
can
think they are.
we can check with management on that, but yeah, probably not.
I don't think so.
Okay, the final question is there a song or songs from the Toadies catalog that when you play live, it just means more to you, or that the fans respond to? Obviously, songs like Mr. Love or Backslider or Possum Kingdom, obviously, Away.
Oh,
I mean, is there
totally.
songs that a single song or a couple songs that just, no matter what the night is, if it's a raucous crowd, if it's a kind of a crowd you got to really work to get on your side, that just always hit home?
Um, Tyler, especially,
Tyler.
that just two-note motif that Clark will play, and watch people kind of, they, somewhat like that one and Possum Kingdom.
Yeah.
From the beginning opening of those songs, people go crazy. You don't have to wait to get to the chorus for them to figure it out. Like, oh, it's that song,
Right.
the beginning. But there's songs like like You'll Come Down, off of Hell Below, Stars Above. I love playing that song. Or God, Unattractive, Paper Dress. Actually, all of the songs I love. I just get a kick out of playing. Because like I said, I was a fan of the band,
Exactly.
but way before. I mean, I didn't really have to. I had to practice because I was a finger player, and this was a pick gig. And I honestly bullshitted my way into the audition. They were like, "Hey, it's a pick gig, all downstrokes. Can you do that?" I'm like, "Totally, I can do that." I had to practice every day for like 2 months to do that. And I even flew up to, my brother was making a record. And I flew up to Fort Collins just to work with him for 3 days on how to play with the pick. So the songs I already had in my head, I knew them back and forth. So I didn't need to, I
Wow.
learned it and then I already had it in my head because I'd heard it so many times. So that part wasn't as hard. It was just, learning how to play that with a pick, and it's kind of how it is still these days. I love the way Vaden writes.
Oh, that's interesting because I mean, I'm thinking about some of the great finger pickers, like, I don't know, like Cliff Burton versus a Steve Harris. Those probably are, to me, my two.
Ooh, good
What do you
call.
think
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that?
Oh, totally. It's yeah, Geddy Lee as well, but I think but oh, that's a good one. God, that's okay.
That's a whole nother
You hit me.
podcast. We're gonna have
That's
to
a
do
whole
that.
nother thing. Well, but yeah, but Cliff, oh yeah, you want to talk, if you want to go on bass nerd stuff, I'm your guy. Yeah, Cliff and Steve, I mean, but Steve he would do it with three fingers.
Okay.
He does his gallop in like
Yeah.
triplicates. Like, I can't do that. Normal humans can't. I can do Steve Harris. I mean, he's one of my favorite bass players, but I have to do it with two fingers. But Cliff, as great as Cliff was and all of that, I mean, listen to Orion. The last solo in Orion is
Yeah.
amazing. he always kept his bass at a completely different level. Like he wanted it felt and not heard. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
for someone to have that talent, to be able to play like that, but he also had no ego, where he was just sitting down below everything and he wanted to be felt. You know, I mean, most guys, myself included, want to have this sharp bass tone where you can hear me. I'm the bass player, damn it. You got to hear me. Burton didn't do that. Like, nope, you're going to feel me. And if he needed to come out and do some cool things, then he would. Then he'd go right back down where way below the pocket. So it was
oh.
it's just a cool thing,
I
you
I
know.
love that analysis. Although he may have had to develop some ego if had he played on Injustice for All, because there is no bass on there.
I
So what would have
think
happened there?
that's I don't, you know what? And I've thought about that and I've thought about that and I think that might have been just how they liked the bass. Because even on Master of Puppets, it's
True.
felt. There's I've listened to that. I mean, God, how many times have I listened to that record? You know, I mean, hell, just the other day I was listening
Right.
to it, and it's felt. It's not really audible. So that might have been just how that band did things. But when that record came out, they might have been just going for a normal thing. Like, let's just try this. They were already doing the weird kick drum thing and all of that.
Yes.
So I think, you know, who knows what's in someone's head when you're mixing? You don't know. It's such a crazy thing, and you think, we'll give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen? Well, you know, it did end up selling like what, 5 million copies
Did
sold.
okay. It did okay. And I'm a fan of the album, to be honest. It's just
Oh
something,
God, me
it's like
too.
you got to bring up as a metal fan. It's always like, oh, the no bass on Injustice. So, Donnie, I'll tell you,
Yeah,
our final four turned into like final 6 or 7. That's how much fun we had with you today. We can't wait to see you here October 4th, Knucklehead Saloon, Kansas City. The Toadies out on tour starting next week. Go to thetoadies.com. Donnie, we're fast friends, bud. We're friends now. I'm going with it. I'm going to say we had my
can't wait
friend
to.
Doni Blair from the Toadies on the show, and it's gonna.
I
Where I'm gonna go with it.
totally agree. Totally agree. I can't wait to meet you in person. We're gonna hang
Absolutely,
out and we will bullshit. Definitely.
that's right.
Thank you again for having me, Clint. I really
You
appreciate it.
bet, Donnie. Thanks a lot, sir. Have a good one.
Hey, I will see you in a couple of weeks. All
I'll be
right.
there.
Take it easy, man. Thank you so much.